All right. So we're back here once again, episode 68. Commanders in the chat. We back at it again. What's going on, Rob?
Another week. Chance to improve on this 500 record we got right now.
Yeah, very much
Um,
so. yeah. 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 It's
excited,
another. Hmm?
excited.
Yeah, I think finally that's a part in the season where there's some optimism once again. I mean, obviously, 2 weeks ago it felt like the lowest of the lows, and
Yep.
coming back here, obviously on Sunday winning in Atlanta, 24-16. Yeah. So we get right into it. So, Rob, what was your thoughts on our win to get ourselves back at 500?
We had no business winning that ball game. To be completely honest, probably should have lost that game. Um, it was an ugly game. Atlanta outscored us or outgained us total yards 402 to 193. Like there's not many games I've seen in my lifetime that I can recall where a team was outgained by that many yards and still pulled away with the win. The one that comes to mind is ironically another Washington game, 2018 with Alex Smith at quarterback against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay gained like over 400 yards on us, or five almost. It was over 500 yards that game. Defense was able to make plays. Josh Norman got a pick in the end zone. Um, it was that's the kind of game it was. It was an ugly game. It was not by any means a game where we sit back and say, okay, this is the standard and this is what we're going to be for the rest of the season. It's one of those games where you feel lucky to walk out of that stadium with a road win and moving on to a divisional opponent, divisional game this coming Sunday.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Speaking of that 2018 game, that was the week before everything went downhill in our season. Week before Alex Smith injury. So, um, yeah, this was a unorthodox win. Normally, when we talk about the keys to a victory, we talk about like as far as time of possession, you know, having an opportunity to kind of wear off the clock and do this and the third. But they won it in a weird way. And like you said, to think that and one of the keys I always say, hey, always get turnovers. You get 3 turnovers in this game and only win by 8. That's kind of one of the things where you look like, if we was all 3 phases in the situation, man, this could have been a blowout. And it had the makings of becoming a blowout. I think, obviously when they were up 24-10, I definitely thought, hey, put your foot on the gas and go. But like you said, they kind of gave them opportunities to come in and steal this game from us. And I think there were some times where it definitely did look like we were going to lose this football game. And but I'm definitely proud of our defense stepping up when they did. I mean, happy for a guy like I say, Juice got his first touchdown, and then also Jamie Davis. I think him getting that game-winning interception was great because obviously, we talk about Jamie Davis. It's kind of one of those where it's like, you know, when he has a bad game, it sticks out. If he has a solid game, it's okay. Was he, as far as his impact, it really sometimes aren't isn't really seen, but him making a big play like that, I think really showed you, as far as that. And then obviously it's just one of those where I'm encouraged because I think even in that type of play that we play, we can still win football games. Like, in years past, we would always say you damn near have to be perfect in certain regards in order for us to win football games. I think this kind of shows you, hey, we have an opportunity. Not saying that we have a game that travels, but we have a team that I think could win games in multiple ways. And it's just one of those where, um, you know, good teams find ways to win games, and sometimes bad teams find ways to lose. So I don't know what we would consider this team at this point a good team that found a way to win, or or vice versa. I mean, because we just never know. and it's a week by week basis, and I don't want to,
Yeah.
get too high on this and don't get too low on kind of things. But yeah, but
Right.
solid road win, like you said. Now back at 500 and still in a good spot.
Yeah. And I don't think we've been at 500 this early, with the exception of obviously like week 2,
Yeah.
at all in Ron Rivera's tenure. This is usually about the time we go on a 3-4 game losing streak before rallying, winning 4 straight, and giving this fan base false hope.
Yeah. Well, it's around the corner now. We be in mid December. I mean we in mid October. So yeah, it's slowly creeping up on us. It's the season for either one. This season can turn in multiple ways. It could be, it's definitely because we definitely got that, like you said, an opportunity.
We do, because we have the Giants coming up, which we're about to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Got Philly on the 29th, which the first game they beat us in overtime. A lot of people, including myself, still think Ron Rivera should have went for 2, try to win the game.
Sure.
I'd much rather be happier losing the game on a 2-point try to win the game, but that's just me. After that, November 5th, we got New England Patriots, who are in a downturn right now.
Yeah.
Week 10 have Seattle Seahawks, which is going to be a tough game in Lumen Field. So it's always a tough place to play. Week 11, November 19th, we're right back facing this team we face in a couple of days here, the New York Giants.
Yep.
So that's a stretch where we could go 1-2. We could go 3-2, possibly 4-1. I think 5-0 would be wildly optimistic at this point. It would be ideal, obviously, but I think it'd be wildly optimistic, because especially that game in Seattle is going to be tough. The one against Philly is at FedEx Field. The one in Seattle is going to be tough. Don't know what the weather conditions are going to be like. Seattle, living close to there for the last 3 years, especially in November, you're looking at cold, wet, not necessarily rainy, but just a misty type of weather. Could be really annoying. After that, it gets rough. We have at Dallas on Thanksgiving. We have Miami Dolphins. We have LA Rams on December 17th. At the Jets, against San Francisco at home. And then week 18, obviously, we close up with Dallas. So that's a gauntlet in and of itself. So if we want any chance, in my opinion, if we want any chance of making a run, it starts with these next 5 games we have.
Yeah, for sure. And then, I'm always leery about these bye weeks, because remember, we was on a roll going into our bye week last year, and then you see how that kind of slowed us down. Because I think after we came back, they only won 1 game after that. I think we lost 3 straight, because we lost coming off the bye. We lost to the Giants. Then we lost to San Francisco.
Then the
on
Browns.
Christmas Eve. Then the Browns on New Year's Day, and then we beat the Cowboys. But and that's one thing where you just it's just weird how that plays out. But like you said, if we want to have a stretch, I think this would be the best, because obviously you're thinking, you kind of, don't know what Miami gonna have in their sleeve, because Mike McDaniels used to pay for coffee here, so
he did.
He might take it personal, so like he did with the Dolphins, So
with the Broncos.
With the Broncos, the Dolphins, he's the Dolphins head coach, but with the Broncos. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with that down the road? But yeah, man. So most definitely, it's been for sure. Let's see. So and much to my chagrin, so pulled up the email, and it's like okay, who's the players of the week? And there was a guy named a guy from Duke University by the name of Jamison Crowder.
I've heard of him.
Making his day. Yeah, I've heard of him. He's watch the Commanders. Second time winning this award. He won that award in Week 5 of 2016 as well. But Rob, you'll never guess who won the AFC Special Teams Player of the Year. Player of the Week. I had the year.
I didn't even look. I saw that.
It's okay.
Jamison Crowder won, which is all I really cared about. Who won AFC?
Yeah, my good old friend Dustin
Dustin
Hopkins.
Hopkins. Good for him.
Good for
Good
him.
for
And he hit
him.
that game, and he hit that game winning field goal against the San Francisco 49ers. So good for him, Dustin Hopkins. So, but no more Commanders alum talk. I don't think so at this point. I had to kind of bring that in, but yeah. So, man, your thoughts on Jamison Crowder, special teams player of the week for the NFC?
It was huge. The one punt, I mean, he basically got it for the one punt return that he had. 61 yards, put us in a good spot. Gave us a really short field, which seemed to be all that we could score on was short fields on Sunday. So obviously, I mean, he did his job. Somebody on Twitter said that Jamison Crowder is the best punt returner that we've had since Jamison Crowder. Back in
Yeah.
whenever I forgot when he left, but which is true. The punt returns we've had since then have been doo doo.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
Right.
I mean,
You know,
hey,
good for him. I'm happy for him. I'm glad he got the award, and I hope he can keep racking off 61 yard punt returns, and maybe do a little damage in the receiving game too.
for sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, we've been around the block, the Dax Mills of the world. Hey, I gotta be quiet. That's right. I gotta chill out. But yeah, I mean, we've had some returners, but yeah, I definitely think. For him coming back, I definitely, thought that, it was great that he came back. And I also, even when he was with the Jets, I was like, he's gonna be somebody that people gonna be, watching after. Like you said, he did a great job in that game, especially giving us that opportunity. That 61 yard, I thought he was gonna take it all the way. He was really that close. But and those type of things, and that's what people fail to realize when it comes to special teams, it's major. Like it's a major component, and you see the difference in this game. Like you said, giving us opportunities to get in close scoring range where we was facing a longer field. We essentially struggle, and so. It's just great to see James Crowder doing this thing, and especially in his second stint here in Washington, and like you said, he could definitely help in that, in the receiver room as well. Like especially in the event if our depth, anything happen when any of the guys on the receiver core, you have a guy like him who can step in and he's had made some great plays for this team. You know, once upon a time when he was in his first stint with Washington, but yeah, and it's great to especially for, because we really don't really be like as far as from the NFL lens, we always like the forgotten team, even though we're like by far the most historically, uh, you know, relevant team is in my personal opinion. When it comes from the historic blue bloods of the NFL, we are, we fall into that place. But now, you know, it's good to kind of on a league scale that we've been, Jameson got recognized.
Right.
But yeah, so man, we got a NFC East battle, and boy, oh boys, I always tell you about these matchups. You just the crazy thing about it, you just never know what is going to happen in these matchups. So we'll preview our matchup as we head down to New Jersey to play the New York Giants. Never understood the premise of that. Hey, it is what it is. So, Rob, what's your storyline to watch in this Week 7 matchup against our foe in the New York Giants?
I got two. First one is going to be to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. This is a 1-5 football team that has had everything go wrong up until this point. 4 out of the 6 primetime games this season, or 4 out of the 6 weeks that we've had. Obviously, we have primetime games every week. They've been on 4 of the 6. Lost all 4, have gone blown out in all 4. The last one was the closest one that they had. Was the closest game that they played in primetime wise, with Tyrod Taylor taking over for Daniel Jones. Again, beat the teams you're supposed to beat. That's the biggest storyline. Tyrod Taylor, if he does play, you have to look at your going up against a different type of quarterback this time. Um, Second one is revenge for last year. We played them twice in 3 weeks with a bye in between. We tied them the first game, and then the second game just got out of hand. We can sit here and blame the refs all we want. With um, the call on Terry McLaurin at the end of the game, and then the non holding or non DPI call at the end on Curtis Samuel. We can sit here and blame that all we want, but at the end of the day, we got to beat the teams that we're supposed to beat, and this is one of those teams.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree with you as far as the rematch. Obviously, of last year's tie game, essentially. That being back in the like I said, in back with in New Jersey. And also it's and this is a divisional game, and it's funny how when we look at this game, we always like the familiarity with each other. But this team is almost this is another matchup. And it's scary to say this out loud. It kind of reminds me like the Giant. I mean, when we played the Bears, it's almost like that Spider-Man type of meme where we point at each other. Us, uh, the Commanders and the Giants are arguably probably one of the worst two defenses in the league. Yeah. I think they give up 27. We give up like 29. Another thing that's really weird about this team, our offensive line and protecting their quarterbacks are eerily similar. I think they give up 33, and I think we give up 34. This game scares me because it's literally Chicago all over again. The Spider-Man meme pointing at each other like who's who. It's kind of frightening. It's kind of one of those but that's what division games essentially are. They're was as frightening. And I think this is just one of those. And then another one where this is kind of a backs against the wall kind of match, especially when it comes to the NFC East. Now, if you wanna be in this race, you got to win this football game. Yeah. Because you already 0-1 in this division, and you still got to think to yourself, you still got to play the Giants, you still got to play the Eagles one more time. Yep. You got to play the Giants again, and then you also got to play Dallas twice. One of these games you're gonna have to win because you don't want to go into a spot because, like, to me, I think if Washington even has a semblance and they want to win this division, they would probably have to be at least 4-2 if in the NFC East. If other dominoes fall, like if Philly start losing, Dallas, and if it's a situation where we're all as far as together record wise, and like if it's a tiebreak situation, I think we would have to go 4-2 if we want to win the NFC East. And I think even 3-3 if you want to make the playoffs, it's pushing it.
Yeah,
you have to win those football games. So yeah, it's one of those where this game is really, really like from a matchup from on a paper perspective is like neck and neck. It's kind of where they look a lot like each other on paper, but thank God we play these games on the field and not on paper because this matchup kind of low key scares me.
Oh, it terrifies me because one, it's a divisional opponent, so yeah. It's like Forrest Gump said, life is like a box of chocolates. This is what these divisional games are. You never know what you're gonna get. So it's always scary. It's always scary to go up against a divisional opponent, especially against a team that you feel like you should beat, that everybody feels like you should beat. Yep. Case in point, Washington not going into Dallas last year, but facing Dallas last year at home in Week 18. Everybody figured they threw Sam Howell in there just to see what they had. Dallas at the time needed to win to stay alive for a number one seed, I think. And Sam Howell came in and tore them apart. We had nothing to play for. They had everything to play for. It's just those divisional games that worry you because in the back of your head you think, this, as cliched as it is, you throw the records out. Throw the records out the window. It's a rivalry game. I don't want to say deep seated hatred because these players obviously weren't fans of these teams back in the 80s and 90s, but there's still some of that animosity that I'm sure a lot of these players have for the teams of the division.
For sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing where you just look at it from that standpoint. So in this game, which Commanders player is likely to have the biggest impact in this game? What you got?
So I'm gonna go with a name that we have heard a lot about in respects of why don't we see him more. I think he had a really good game Sunday against Atlanta, and I think more wishful thinking more than anything that Khalid Hudson is going to play a much bigger role, especially going up against somebody like Saquon, trying to plug those holes between the gaps and the tackles and the guards, trying to limit the damage that Saquon Barkley can do. Again, with the game he played against Atlanta, I see him getting a few more snaps, playing a bigger role this game because, in my opinion, he's a much better linebacker than Barton by leaps and bounds. I think Khalid Hudson has been a better linebacker than most of the linebackers, if not all that we've had. So I think plugging him in and letting him kind of get more acclimated with his defense and get more playing time, get more snaps under his belt is only going to help him more. But I do think he's going to come up big because he is going to get more playing time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And like I said, he stepped up in a big way last week. And I kind of some guys I really forgot about as well too. I want to talk about like Casey Toohill. He did his thing. What your boy Fred Spoon said, Casey 2 sacks.
Yeah, shout out Casey Toohill getting his first multi-sack game of his career.
Yeah, so shout out to Casey, man. Yeah, man. And he was the hero on our Monday Night Football. Well, for some bettors who had a spread, on the money line potentially, it might have helped some guys on that. But yeah, and this is it is that's why I said I swear on everything. The Giants and the Commanders are eerily similar, and it's frightening. So who I think is going to have an impact in this game is going to be Terry McLaurin. Which is okay. So what I look at, because obviously if you look on the surface when the Giants played the Bills last week on Sunday Night Football, you thought to yourself, oh man, they really bottled Josh Allen. It is true.
Yep.
But they got a wrinkle. They had a wrinkle in that defense, and Stephon Diggs went off. He had a little over 100 yards in that game. And the same thing kind of happened last week with us, where you look at Drake, Drake, man, your boy Drake London had a pretty good game. Getting all my Drakes mixed up. But and that's where it's weird. Like I can see Terry having a game like this because I think he's due for one. I think we talked about that last week. And it's I don't know, maybe I need to speak up because I know I talked about Curtis last week. Curtis scored. So maybe this is the week that Terry gets to do his thing. So I definitely think, especially if we're gonna win this game, and as far as from an offensive standpoint, I definitely think he will be the guy I think will have the biggest impact. And like I said, defensively, I do. I see like a guy like Khalil Hudson doing his thing in this as well. And you can almost take your pick as far as on the line essentially, because but that's concerned. But yeah. So
yeah, I think Terry McLaurin, they got him involved last week. I think he had 11 catches. Let me check the numbers, but I'm pretty sure 11 catches. I just had them up. Yeah, 11 targets, 6 catches, 81 yards. So there, I think Eric Bieniemy's definitely getting him involved, or at least trying to get him more involved. Which your wide receiver one should be the focal point of your offense. Sure. Your offense in the passing game should run through your best wide receiver. Terry. One thing I want your opinion on before we go forward.
Yeah.
Yami Brown. My opinion, he hasn't looked good. He dropped a lot of balls, or at least he just hasn't caught them. I won't say dropped them. A lot of them seem to be outreach. Is he gonna make it?
I don't, and that's now, and that was my biggest fear with the Army. I definitely went. I knew when Jahan got drafted, I was like, all right, you have to start doing some stuff. You're gonna have to start, doing your thing. And then, like, especially, and I think it even stems back to the preseason where he missed a lot of passes, even in dropped a lot of balls in preseason. And then now you're looking at it and you seeing like, oh, like, because that's the thing, because that's like one of his deep targets. And I mean, they had a great connection at Carolina. And now it just seemed like, because when he go deep, he look for him.
Oh yeah.
And then he drops it, and I'm basically like, oh man. And that's another thing where it laying these points off the table like that. I mean, he gonna have, I mean, he might have some time this year to kind of get himself back in the good graces, but I know this is gonna be something that they're gonna look at and be like, I don't know, man. Like, yes.
I was looking at it. It might be a timing issue because like Yami's open on them. It's just for some reason Sam is just overthrowing them on quite a few balls. He had the one target against Atlanta. He was overthrown. He stretched out for the ball, but just man.
Because I forgot. Was it one in the Bills game where he dropped it? I forgot. It was one of the games. I think it was against the Bills. And he dropped one. I'm like, oh, it was like right in the bread basket. I think it was the Bills, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, he's skating on thin ice, and it's finna be Easter. So the water about to get warm.
Yeah.
So so yeah, hey man, it's hey, it's it is what it is, but I'm hoping he could put some good film up in the next few weeks and and get back into somewhat of good grace to this offense. So let's talk about our opponent. So is there, as far as when it comes to the Giants, who's a guy on that squad that it's intimidating, that as far as that scares you in this matchup?
So he not only scares me, but I also idolize him because every time I go to the gym, I put on my wallpaper on my phone a picture of Saquon Barkley because I want my quads to look like his when I'm done at the gym every day. Saquon, he's the ultimate game changer. No matter how many times you stop him in the backfield, no matter how many times you stop him for a gain of a yard and a half, he's one carry away from breaking a 60-yard touchdown run and breaking the game wide open, putting that dagger in the game or starting a comeback. I'm not really scared of anybody else. I would say Tyrod Taylor a little bit. Always been a fan of Tyrod Taylor. He's a much better quarterback than Daniel Jones. But yeah, Saquon, just his playmaking ability, his game changing ability. Like I said, he's always one touch away from changing the outcome of the game. As one guy, when the Giants drafted him, I was not looking forward to seeing twice a year.
Yeah, and I agree. Like, as far as when it comes to that, because like even last week, I think he had like 93 yards, but he broke off on like a 30 something yard play on on the Bills last week. And here's another one where he could be that game changer, especially in this game where, like you said, he can have a situation where we can ball up. I think last week, I think we only allow 3.7 yards per carry. And that's low key kind of misleading. And like you said, it can get to a point where, yeah, you can stop him on certain things, but like one down, he can just go off and just completely dominate. But a guy I'm really, and it's weird, like it's I guess it's pun intended. I just hope we don't wake up the sleeping giant that is Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah,
that's my biggest fear. And obviously, we know, last year the strip sack essentially that pretty much doomed our playoff chances. So I think he's one where, and it's weird. I feel like we've fallen into this trap once again where this Giants defensive line isn't like what they were last year as far as when it comes from the sack and getting the penetration on the quarterback.
Yeah.
But this is kind of one of those games where they come alive. You look at like Atlanta, like last week, going into that game, Atlanta only had 5 sacks. And they sacked Sam Howell 5 times in that game. And this is another one where it's just like we fall. It's like it's almost like you look at this and you look at these trends, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I could get some sleep Saturday night because all these trends, I'm scaring my damn self again now, you know. So it's just like, yeah, I think I think Kayvon Thibodeau is somebody that I'm really like, okay, we need to kind of, you know, ball him up if we can, figure something out. But yeah, but like you said, Saquon definitely somebody, oof, that's going to be a problem. So,
yeah. Not looking forward to it.
For sure. Hey, you know, if we, you know, we look at this Washington Commanders team as a playoff caliber team, hey, this is just another step in the right direction. Hey, you got to play them, you know. So,
I agree.
You know, for sure. So, we got to get our keys to a Commanders victory, even though in most times, if they follow the keys, our keys, you will win the football game. But I think they skipped this part of the podcast and be like, look, you know what, we're gonna do it our own way. So, you know, for the sake of just for us, we gotta give up our keys to a Commanders win. What you got, Rob?
Starting fast and keeping your foot on the pedal for whatever reason. I don't know why. We cannot win. Like, we can't just sit down on a Sunday morning, in my case, Sunday afternoon in your case, and just enjoy a wire-to-wire victory, get an early lead. We don't let up, and just there always has to be something with this team. We always either have to make a comeback or let a team come back after a big lead, and it's annoying but that's is again starting fast, keeping the lead, and getting Terry McLaurin involved and keeping him involved. Like we saw in Atlanta on Sunday, you know, he had 11 targets, 6 catches, 80 something yards. We got to get him a 100-yard receiving game. That's going to be key because again, you can't stop Saquon. You can only contain him. And if this front four is not able to contain him, I don't think our linebackers are. So we definitely need our offense to get it together and give some decent output.
Yeah. So yep. So another some keys that they all going to ignore as well on our end as well, because they definitely ain't gonna start fast. Let me stop. But yeah, and like you said, they feel at least somewhat of a comfort an hour into the game. You know, like you said, kind of one of those, okay, just kind of sit back, relax. You know, do I kind of like lean back in the recliner, or do I have to sit upright?
Yeah.
You know, clenching my fist, punching the air, you know, all kind of stuff. Yeah, just have you know, that kind of moment. But I think containing Saquon Barkley, I think like I kind of alluded to earlier, as far as you look at how like last week, where I think we did a great job last week. You know, obviously Atlanta had 29 rushing attempts for 106 yards with 3.7 yards per carry. I definitely thought that was going to be kind of one of those where, especially I was an Al Jazeera and kid from Texas. I can't believe my manager. Robinson.
Oh, Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson. Yeah, it's crazy. I remember the backup, but I don't remember the start. Like, that's how your mind go. Don't get old, Rob. But
I'm trying not to.
Right. Right. So I think that also another thing, I think getting a solid pass rush in Tyrod Taylor, kind of getting him kind of uncomfortable in that pocket. I think it's one of those where he's that change of pace. I think that's going to be something where I definitely think we need to take advantage of. And then also, I think another thing too is the turnovers. I think if we can get turnovers, and I think that's another thing I'm encouraged about the secondary going forward. I was like Kendall getting the interception. He's been in the doghouse. Yeah. I don't know where he's been under the doghouse for you, Rob. But like, like so you done threw away the key. You burnt the key. So he's been in your doghouse for years.
Yeah.
So and then obviously St. Jude's and and maybe once again we may see Emmanuel Forbes this week potentially. I don't know. I don't know what happened with that situation. Kind of get his confidence back up. But I just want to see the secondary do its thing, and I think those to me I think are going to be the kind of the keys for this Washington Commanders victory to come out 4-3. So it's prediction time, Rob. And I know last week I don't know. You know how the superstitions run rampant around here on Commanders in the chat. So hey, what's up? What's your prediction for
one thing I like to say? Thing I always like to say is I'm not superstitious. I am a little stitious.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go. Right. I'm gonna go Giants in this one. I think if the Giants win, it's gonna be a rather low scoring game. I think like a 19-15 ball game for the Giants. I don't think they're gonna do much. But I also don't think we're really going to do much either. I think it's going to be one of those letdown games for us. We should be beating this team by 10, 15 points. And it's going to be another stressful day for us. Good thing my daughter's baseball game is before the game. So I'll have to be at her game mad as well, like I was, or stressing like I was last week.
No, they like
1950, like the parents over there were looking at me like, why I'm screaming at a 5-year-old T-ball game. I'm not even watching this game, guys.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like what is he doing? Like, I mean, he's watching the Commanders game. Bear with him. It's like it's those type of games where hey, I can't be around a bunch of people because people look like I'm crazy.
Exactly.
Those type of things. Yeah. So it'd be a lot like how we were on a live stream 2 weeks ago. So, that was more of a PG version of it.
Yeah.
I tried not to lay off the expletives and all that, the curse words and all that. I tried, but
it was tough.
Like that way. It really was. But I swear, man, me and you, I don't know, Rob, we great match thinking like. So you had the Giants winning 19-15, right?
Yep.
So I got the Commanders winning 27-19. I cannot make stuff up. And I'm telling you, I have my notes here. I made my prediction hours ago, and I had them win. Let's have 19 points on the scoreboard. So yeah,
it's gonna be one of those games. I just like we talked about earlier. It's terrifying to go up against a divisional opponent. Yeah. No matter how bad they are, just like in the early 90s, the year that I think it was Troy Aikman's rookie year, the Cowboys went 1-15. Who'd they beat? They beat Washington that year.
Yeah.
Washington went on to win a Super Bowl, which great, but still, like those are divisional games, man. They're crazy. I don't like them.
Yeah, and and saying almost when you think about like us, last year we beat the mighty Philadelphia Eagles. Everybody thought, they were the best team in the NFL, but thank God Uncle Travi and them won. Yeah. So, yeah. Hey, let me chill with that. Let me chill with that, I like trolling Eagles fans and that type of stuff. But yeah, like I said, you just never know, especially like you said in division. This is like you said. You got a team that's 1-5, and and us coming in at 500. But yeah, and if anything has told you it's any given Sunday, if one of the biggest takeaways from week six of the NFL season last week, any given Sunday. So And yeah, and hopefully it won't be like that theme this time on this Sunday or week 7. Like, hey, you know, road dogs win this week. Who knows?
I don't think I can handle that.
Yeah, I know, right? It is. Yeah, it would be crazy to say the least. So put a bow on. Oh, first before we get at that, got to give a huge shout out to our guy Kenneth. I know he's a Cowboys fan, but every week he comes in and engage with us in the chat. So breaking news: Commanders have been traded back to the NFL from the CFL after finally getting a quality win. Yeah, I told you, man. Hey, we win football games.
I'm happy to be back.
Glad to be back. And we want to stay in the league. Because that's we were a long way from home. In Canada,
Yep.
so we here. So yeah, but definitely huge shout out to our guy Kendall for coming, join us in the chat every week. Definitely appreciate them chiming in and showing us some love here on Commanders in the chat. So, Rob, tell them where they can find you on social media, any upcoming project, what you got going on.
Y'all already know where you can find me, FNC Pod on Twitter, Football and Chill Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. Just released Week 7 Power Rankings. Go check those out and see if you're as mad as I am about the Chargers being at like 14. I don't know how. Well, I mean, I know how because I'm the one that gets the rankings. So I know how they're at 14. I just don't like it. And then we got See You Sunday on Saturday mornings, 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern, and Overreaction Monday.
All right. Yeah, man. So so pretty much we got Commanders in the chat here every Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Social media, Commanders ITC. We're on there as well. And then also check out Couch Coach Live every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Check out the website, couchcoachlive.com. And also social media, Couch Coach Live. So yeah, man, it's once again episode 68. We're creeping up there. We get ready. We almost in the triple digits, but hey, 68 episodes in, and we're here. So
Come a long way.
Absolutely, yes. And we've had so many name changes, everything. So I think we got one more final one, and then I think we can really, we can put a Sharpie on the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I definitely think a name change is going to happen on our end.
Oh yeah. I'd say within the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. So I'm just ready to put a Sharpie on this podcast and just have a name. Because I think like even the email like is Washington football guys at gmail.com. And I'm like, okay, might want to change that.
Yeah.
As far as that concerned. But yeah, man. So yes, episode 68 is in the books. Catch you guys next week as we face another NFC East foe in the Philadelphia Eagles. So, man, this has been episode 68. We'll catch you guys next week. And hail to the Commanders. And we out.